Happy Friday. Happy Friday. You are listening to the She Heals Radio Show on Awesome God Radio. I am your host, Whitney J. It is Friday, March 12th, 2021. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are tuning in on the Awesome God Radio app, thank you so much. If you have not downloaded the Awesome God Radio app, what are you waiting for? Amazing shows, amazing music, amazing sermons. It's just an amazing place. And Awesome God Radio is definitely a place you want to be connected with. Follow us on all social media platforms as well. If you are tuning in on Periscope or my YouTube page, Twitter. Thank you so much. If you have not followed me on those pages, please follow me, Whitney Hogans. I would love to be with you. And last but never, ever, ever least, if you are tuning in on Facebook Live, thank you so much. Hit the like button, leave a comment, and share it to your page. I am so happy to be back with you guys. My apologies for being out last week. I was sick, but I am feeling much better. How are you guys? We have an amazing woman of God that is going to be joining us later in the second half of the show, Dr. Lena Scott Diggs. I'm telling you, she is amazing. I'm so excited to have her on. And listen, it is Women's History Month. We are going to be celebrating some women today. We're going to just be talking about the different roles that women play and, how you can have the life God called you to have. How do you balance all of the different roles that you have? And so guess what? If you are a woman and you are feeling discouraged, like maybe you can't do something or maybe you're overwhelmed, please understand that encouragement is here. You absolutely can. Whatever God said that you could do is equip you with everything you need to do it. You just have to believe and get to work. And again, if you're a man that's listening, hey, you know a woman, encourage her, love on her in this season, because guess what? We always need it. As we hop into the She Heals Inspiration segment, listen, y'all, it's been rough. Hey, Michelle, love you, lady. It's been a rough week, y'all. Full transparency. It's been a rough week. I am looking forward to the weekend and trying to reset and kind of get myself together. It's been a very challenging week, a lot of different things going on. And, challenges come, right? So it's no need to get all hopped up and harped up on that. Things do happen. It's just taking the moment to kind of take your deep breath, allow to process, yourself time to process whatever it is that you're feeling on the inside, and then ask God for direction and move forward. And so that's where I've been a lot this week. And one of the things that I've been dealing with is looking at the whole picture. And so my She Heals Inspiration segment today is about looking at the whole picture. And so, many times, especially this week, like I said, so many things were happening. And, sometimes we don't realize the power of words. Hey, brother, do you love you? We don't realize the power that our words have. And so have you ever had a situation where someone has asked you about your day and you're like, I had a horrible day? Right? And they're like, a horrible day. And you start telling them the different things that happened throughout the day. But really, is it that the entire day was horrible? Or did you have these moments that were in your day that were horrible, right? Or that were really rough? And was it that it was awful? Or was it that it was an inconvenience? Sometimes we, when we are stressed and we've got so much going on, it's like every little thing will irritate us, right? So, we've been now a year dealing with COVID-19, right? Around this time last year, it was like the last day of school. We were closing school. And so many of us, thought, hey, we're going to go home for 2 weeks and we're going to come back and life is going to resume back to normal. And here we are a year later and things could not be any more normal, right? We now have some new normals. We're still trying to figure out what's going to happen day to day. When are we going to be able to kind of be out and about like we're used to being? And what is that even going to look like? Many of us have experienced COVID personally. Maybe we have, had COVID, or maybe we know someone that has, or maybe we've lost someone that has. And so there are so many things right now. And I would argue to say that right now, we're all kind of at a heightened state of anxiety and irritation, right? So, we've been stuck in the house for a year. We've been dealing with, trying to keep ourselves and the people that we love safe. If you're anything like me, you've been dealing with the ups and downs of your of your just job situation and going back into the, office or school building or wherever versus working at home. There's been so many changes. And every time we turn around, there's another change. And it can make you really frustrated when things are not balanced and when things are not stable. It makes it really frustrating and it really gets you irritable easily, right? And so with that, life is still happening, right? And so I had to check myself a couple of times this week because I found myself getting so frustrated. I had to say, well, wait a minute, Whitney, hold on. Are you doing the best that you can right now? Let's look at the entire picture. So yes, you're frustrated about this one thing, but let's look at the big picture of what's actually happening. Is there some things in there that you're missing? Are you missing some things that God is trying to show you through these different things? Are you about to make a decision based on your emotions and not based on the perfect will of God? Let's slow down for a second. And let's trust God and let's trust the process. But the first thing we have to do is have eyes to see the total picture, right? You cannot survive if you only have one viewpoint. You cannot survive if you only see things one way. And we talked about this on the show a few weeks back about the narrative in our mind. So some of us have a narrative in our mind that says, I'm always right. So we can't see the whole picture. We can't see the areas that we were wrong and we needed some correction or redirection because the narrative in our mind says, I'm always right. So whatever the narrative is, it directly shapes the picture that you see. If the narrative in your mind says, I'm always wrong, then that's all you see. And you don't see the areas where you were right. You don't see the things that were outside of your control. If the narrative in your mind says, I'm always the victim, you don't see the full picture of, is this a situation that applies to? Is someone actually harming me right now? Or is it that the narrative has shaped what I see? Right? So it becomes, what do you believe? Do you believe the narrative or do you believe what you see? Both of them can fool you, right? That's why we have to be tapped into the Word of God. And we have to be connected to God. And we've got to ask him, God, okay, this is the narrative that's in my mind. What do you say? This is what I see. What do you see? You got to give that thing back to him, because if not, what's going to end up happening is you're going to have a narrative that's inaccurate and a vision that's inaccurate. And so you're going to move through and make decisions based on inaccurate information. And so then what's going to happen? Are you going to be able to be successful and move through that situation if you don't even have all the facts to begin with? No. So we've got to check the narrative. We've got to check our perspective. And we have to have eyes to see the total picture, not just the parts that you like, not just the parts that make you feel good or that you're comfortable in. Sometimes we like being mad. Have you ever been in a mood where you don't even want to get out of it? I've done that before. I've been frustrated and it's like, I just want to be mad right now. I know I could say something and do something to change the course of how I'm feeling, but right now I just want to be mad. So I stay there. I stay stuck, right? So many of us stay in that place. Well, I'm just here, right? But we have to see the whole picture. We have to see the whole picture. Could it be that God is orchestrating some things to move you where you need to be? Could it be that he made some things uncomfortable because he's trying to shift and transition you to what he has next? Could it be that the reason why you're feeling uncomfortable is due to your own behavior, your own disobedience, your own sin, your own, frustration, maybe your own fear that's holding you back? Could it be that the reason why you don't have eyes to see the total picture is because you're not asking God about it? Could it be that God has something so good that is happening and you just can't see it yet because you're so focused on your current circumstances and where you are today? So God told you, God gave you a vision, or maybe you received a prophetic word that said you are going to have a ministry that is going to minister to thousands across the world, right? But right now your ministry is only serving 20 people. right? And so you're frustrated because you're like, well, I see this vision, God, but what I'm looking at right now is 20 people and it's COVID and I don't have a place to have my, ministry at right now. And I don't have the money for this and I don't have the help for that. And so all you're seeing is that one piece, you're right now. But you don't see that God is already orchestrating things. He's already moving you places so that you can connect with the people and the resources that he's already laid out for you ahead of time. Before you were even born, the plan for your life was already sealed. And so you don't see that though, because what you see is just your circumstances and you're not looking at the whole picture. You're not taking a step back and saying, wait, God, I may not know it and I don't need to have it all figured out right now, but I see you working. I see you working. If you think about the butterfly, right? When it goes to the, now I'm gonna mess this up, so forgive me. Charge it in my head, not my heart. But when the caterpillar goes through that process, I want to say it's like the chrysalis process, where they more, form into the butterfly. You actually don't see it in process, right? You see the chrysalis, you see this like shell's maybe not a good word, but this outer covering, and then out of that emerges the beautiful butterfly, right? But do you see each and every piece and turn of when the caterpillar becomes the butterfly? No, you don't. And it takes a while, right? But then it goes from slow process to suddenly, now we have a butterfly. Right? All you see is the chrysalis though. You don't see what's happening on the inside. So dare I say that even right now, when you're going through certain things, you don't see the transformation, right? You don't see that God is turning you into a butterfly because you're in the chrysalis, meaning all you see is what is around you. But if you understand who is in you, it doesn't matter what or who is around you, simply because the work is always going to be complete. God does not start something that God does not finish. God is not going to implant something in you that he's not going to deliver. It doesn't work that way. But just because you can't see the progress doesn't mean that progress is not taking place. Just because you can't see how you're going to turn from that caterpillar to a butterfly, because all you ever know is to be caterpillars, and every generation of your family you've seen their caterpillars, and so you don't even know what it means or it looks like to be a butterfly. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean that God has not already designed it. And you can be in your walk right now thinking that you're going nowhere and you're turning into a butterfly. You don't even see it yet. I wonder if I wish we could talk to a caterpillar and then talk to them when they become the butterfly and ask them, how do they feel in the in-between time? Is it uncomfortable? I would imagine. I don't know. Right? Are they tired? Are they frustrated? Do they wish it was over? When they become the butterfly, do they look back and have an appreciation for the season that they were a caterpillar? Or do they just embrace who they are now and that's it? I wonder, right? Because so many of us are in process right now and we don't even realize it because we don't see that big thing. We want that big transformation. We want God to drop $100,000 in our lap today. I do. Please, Jesus. Right? We want that big thing. We want that phone call that's going to change our lives, right? We want to just drop the book, drop the EP, drop the movie. We just want it to just happen. But we don't see how God is orchestrating things. We don't see how even right now you're being watched. Somebody has noticed you that you don't even know has noticed you, that God is going to use to further advance his plan for your life. You don't even know that yet because you're so busy focused on your current circumstances. You don't see that God is shifting you over here to the left or over here to the right because he has a plan. You don't see that he's not just doing things, here, there, and everywhere. Every move of his is strategic. You don't see that you are becoming the butterfly because all you know is the caterpillar. And right now you're feeling uncomfortable because it feels like things are shifting and changing and you don't understand why. You're trying to figure out what God is doing. You're trying to figure out how this thing is going to look at the end. I wonder if the butterfly, or rather if the caterpillar, spends its days wondering about what they're going to be like as a butterfly. Well, what colors am I going to be? And how big am I going to? I wonder if they think about that. Or if they're just focused on where they are now. We don't have to worry about the end result when we serve an all-knowing, all-powerful, always present God. We just have to follow him. We have to trust that in those uncomfortable moments, in that chrysalis stage, we have to trust that God is moving, even when we can't see it, even when we may not be able to feel it, even when we're not even sure what is happening. We have to trust that he is still moving, because guess what? He is still moving. God doesn't play about us. He doesn't play about us. He knows what he's doing at the right time. At the right time, you will emerge from that stage brand new. You will emerge with whatever God has given you. You will emerge with whatever God has placed in you that he is birthing through you. You will emerge if you faint not, if you hang in there, if you trust him and trust the process. Listen, I'm in a process right now, and I'll have to tell y'all a little more about it later. But I'm in a process right now, and God had me start something at the beginning of the year. And, I was, first of all, you should have a coach with everything. That's just here. And so immediately when God gave me this particular assignment, he immediately sent me a coach to walk me through it, because he knew that I didn't know what to do. I needed someone that was going to lead me, that was going to guide me. You cannot get to where God is calling you to be if can't nobody tell you nothing. You've got to have the right mentorship and leadership. That's just a quick plug for that. And so he sent me this amazing woman of God that has been walking alongside me on this particular journey. And a couple of weeks back, I was kind of just feeling like, I don't know if this is my lane. I don't know if I'm supposed to, I know I heard God, I know I heard what God said. And he confirmed it many, many times. But I was looking at what he was telling me I was going to do. And I was looking at where I am right now. And I just didn't see how I was going to get from where I am today to that place, to that assignment being completed in that way. And I was really struggling with it. God, I just don't see how this is going to happen. I'm trying my best, and I have a great, coach, and I'm listening and I'm learning and I'm trying to do everything that they say. And, but I just don't see how I'm going to go from here to there. Right? I don't see how this assignment, the end result of what you showed me, is going to be birthed through me. I could see it being birthed through somebody else, but not through me. And one of my sessions, a couple of weeks back, my coach said to me, hey, listen, I want you to go back and look at something we did when we first got started. Or actually, before we got started. I want you to look at something that we discussed before we started working together. And then I want you to go back and I want you to look at what we're doing right now. You will see tremendous progress. And when I listened to her and I did that, I went back and looked at what we had previously done. And then I looked at what we were doing right now. I immediately was like, wow, there is a major change from December to now. A major, major change. I couldn't see the progress because I was so focused on the end result. Right? So I seemed so far away from the end result, I didn't see the progress God had already done. And so can I encourage you to take a moment to stop on your journey and to look at what God has already done. You may not be there yet. Maybe you're not done the degree yet. Maybe, you're still learning the skills for that particular assignment. Maybe, God has called you to preach and lead a church and you're just now, starting to preach your first sermon and you don't see how you're going to get to what God showed you from where you are right now. Well, the reality is you're not going to get there from right now. You're going to get there step by step by step. So you have to go through the process. We can't jump from where we are now to where we want to be or where God said, we are going to be at his appointed time. We've got to trust his process and his timing. But you have to also acknowledge what he's already doing. So even if all it is, I think of weight loss, some people are like, I want to lose 50 pounds and they get so discouraged, right? I want to lose 50 pounds. They don't notice that, okay, well, I just lost 10 pounds, right? I've made some progress, or maybe I haven't lost any weight yet, but I'm exercising more than I was, and I'm eating better than I was, and I am drinking more water than I was. Acknowledge the progress you have already made, even if the only progress is you didn't quit, even if that's it. But you got to acknowledge what God has already done on your way to what he will do and what he has already said is yours to have. So if God said that you're going to have a certain type of business and that this business is going to, you're going to minister to this group of people through this business, it doesn't matter what it looks like right now. It doesn't matter that you only have maybe 1 or 2 clients. It doesn't matter that maybe your business is heavily focused on like social media followers and maybe you only have a few followers. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if God said that it was yours to have. You've got to trust him. You got to trust the process. You got to just keep on going, right? You can't be worried about, well, when is it going to work down and no, you don't have to worry about it. You have to just focus on what God is calling you to do right now and do that. And you've got to ask him to give you eyes to see the total picture, not just the frustration, not just your current circumstances, not just the disappointments or the rejection, or not just the bad times or the hard times or whatever. You've got to ask God for eyes to see the total picture, even if it's only that I'm still moving forward. No, Whitney, you're not where the end result to that particular assignment, but you're further than you were because you're doing the work and you're trusting me with the rest. And you can rest assured that you will get there on time, because my timeline is the timeline that you need to be following. So you don't need to worry about, well, God, can I? And God, well, I don't know, because you told me I was going to write a book this year, but I've only wrote 3 pages and it's March now. And I don't know. It doesn't matter. God will accelerate. He will accelerate you on his time. So you could be writing a book and have 6 months of just writer's block, and then write the entire book in 2 weeks if that's what God said. You can go from really trying your best at something and it's not clicking and you're not learning to catching it, and all of a sudden it's a drastic change. So listen, you got to trust God. You got to trust the process, but you have to have eyes to see the total picture, and you cannot give up before it's done. You can't give up before it's done. So many of us are close. Listen, you can't get in, when the caterpillar goes through that chrysalis stage, like you can't leave early because you're not going to become the butterfly. You got to stay in that thing, right? You got to stay in it when it's uncomfortable. And you don't know how long you're going to be in there. And are you going to be in there by myself? Or am I going to be in there with people? Or who's going to say something about me? Because maybe I've been in this place too long or not enough. And you can't be worried about how you're going to look when you come out. And, well, is my color going to be pretty like this person's? Or my wings going to be big like this one? You can't be worried about that. You have to be focused on, God, what did you say I am? As long as I become who you said I am, then I am more than enough. I don't have to be like anybody else. I don't have to look like anybody else. My journey doesn't have to mirror somebody else's. As long as I come out looking and being who you said I was, then I'm okay. I'm more than enough. I don't have time to be worried about somebody else. And if it means that my chrysalis stage is 6 months, if it's 2 years, if it's 2 weeks, God, whatever you said is what I want. And so even though it's uncomfortable, even though I may not even be clear on exactly what you're doing or where you're going with this, right? I may not even be clear, but God, I trust you. God, I trust you. I trust that you know what's best. I trust that you've perfected everything that concerns me. That's what the word says. He will perfect everything that concerns you. So even though I'm in this uncomfortable space and I don't know if I'm coming or going these days and I'm looking at things, it's the moment where you trust the process and you trust who is in control of the process that you can have peace while you're in it. You can't wait until you get what it is that you're believing God for, or that God births whatever he has implanted in you to then have peace. You should have peace along the way. Some of us are always chasing what's next because there is an unsatisfaction in us, right? There's something that we're not satisfied with. So every time we get one thing, we say, okay, now if I get this, I'm good. Okay, so now I got my business. Okay, now if I can open up a new store, okay, then I'm good. Then you open the new store. Okay, now if I can just do this. And it's like it's never enough because there's something on the inside that you're not satisfied with. Listen, you're never going to obtain everything outside of the peace of God. So you have to have his peace on the inside of you. And so listen, the true peace from God, it says, you know what? I'm good regardless. Yeah, I may not be where I am yet, but God is faithful to get me there. Or maybe I have gone through that process and God has blessed me with what he told me was mine to have. Well, guess what? God is faithful to equip me with everything that I need to sustain and to keep it, right? For his glory, to use that thing to bless other people. So you know what? I'm going to have to stay in process, and that's okay. Many of us are thinking we're going to arrive to this moment where there are no more processes. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that's just not true. We're always in process. We should always be molding and growing and developing and evolving, always. It doesn't mean that it's always going to be heavy and hard. There are periods where it is, but it doesn't have to always be that way. But it does mean we're constantly moving forward. Do you have eyes to see the whole picture and to continue moving forward, trusting God, even when what you see or what you experience today doesn't match what God is saying? A few years ago, God told me, he showed me this vision of what he was going to have me to do. And I was just like, there's no way I can do that. I'm a single parent. I'm a teacher. I can't afford, how am I going to pay for those kind of things? And how am I going to do this, God? And I had all these questions like, well, what you mean I'm going to write a book? And what you mean I'm going to have a publishing company? What you mean I'm going to have a show? What you mean I'm going to have this? How am I going to do all of that? Plus take care of my kids, and plus have a full-time job, and plus, who's going to pay for those things? And who's going to even want to listen to something that I write or something that I say? I had all these questions, and God said, daughter, just do it. Go with me step by step. Trust me with all that concerns you. Trust me and trust the process. Do you really think I'm going to have you out here? I'm going to give you an assignment and not equip you with everything that you need? This isn't an issue of resource. It's an issue of faith. You got what you need. If you had eyes to see it, you would see that everything that you need is laid in front of you. You would see it. I promise you, you would see it. You would be surprised when you step back and you start looking at things. You will start to see that, man, I didn't know that. I thought this person was coming into my life for this reason, but this person led me to this person that led me to this situation. It's ordered steps. I don't know why I went to that gas station today because I never go there. But I went there and happened to meet this person. And guess what? They're doing the thing that God said that I was going to be doing. I done met a mentor. Look at that. It's all about being in alignment with God's will and having eyes to see the total picture. Everything that you need is around you. I promise. I'm speaking to myself as well. Every time that I have had an assignment from God and I've asked God how, he has shown me he had already made the provision in that area. Already made it. You don't even know who's around you sometimes. You don't even know what is around you. The last time we did the show, we talked about the widow who, was talking to Elijah about, she was in debt and she was just trying to figure out what to do. And he's like, what do you have in your house? And she said, oh, I have nothing. All I have is this oil. And long story short, that oil blessed her and got her out of debt. And so it's one of those things that you don't even know what God has already placed in you and around you, and who he has placed around you to fulfill the promises that he has for your life. You just have to say yes. You just have to say yes. Do you have a yes for God? Do you have a yes that says, you know what, God, the process of going from a caterpillar to becoming a butterfly is difficult. All I know is how to be a caterpillar. And I'm in this chrysalis phase, which is really uncomfortable. And I can't even fathom what it's like to be a butterfly. And I'm in this situation, God, and I'm just trying to figure it out. God, I don't know what to do. God, I'm tired. You ever had a prayer that just said, God, I'm tired? I'm tired, God. I'm frustrated. I am, I've been in this I've been in this chrysalis stage for a long time, God, and I'm ready for something new. I'm ready to come out. I'm ready for, for the promises that you have over my life, God. I'm ready for that. I'm ready, God. I'm tired, God. Have you ever been in that space? Have you ever been in that space before? Where you're like, I'm tired, God. I'm tired. If that's you, I want to pray. I want to pray for you. And my prayer for you is this, that you will embrace God, because he is right there with you. I promise you, he's never left you. I know that you're transitioning from that caterpillar to that butterfly, and it's uncomfortable, but he has never left you. He is right there with you. When you cry, he counts every tear. When he sees every sleepless night, he sees it all. He's right there. He's with you, and he is going to deliver you, and you will become the most beautiful butterfly that there is to be seen if you faint not. Just hold on. That is the She Heals Inspiration segment. I pray that it blessed you. Right now, as we hop into the next session of the show, I am super excited. I love when God blesses me with connecting with amazing people. And I recently connected with this amazing woman of God, and she is amazing. She is beautiful on the outside and the inside. She is a dentist. She is a designer. She is a public speaker. She is a wife and a mother. I mean, she's bad, y'all. I'm telling you, she is bad. I am super excited to welcome to the She Heals radio show, Dr. Lena Scott Diggs. Hey.
Hello. Hi.
How are you? Happy Friday.
I'm good. Happy Friday to you. Thank you. Powerful woman of God.
Oh, thank you. Thank you to God. Glory. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Lena. And I am just so excited. So we've been chatting, and it is Women's History Month, which I love. So, you and I were talking, and I was saying that, I just wanted to empower women, and, so many, and honestly, the word is good for everybody, right? A word that God has can apply to anybody. But so many of us women specifically are kind of struggling with, getting to where we are and who we are in Christ, right? Mm-hmm. So I want to talk about that. But first, I want you to introduce yourself to the She Heals radio show.
Yes, well, you already did it. But I'm Dr. Lena Scott Diggs, and I am, like she said, a dentist, a mother. I'm a woman first, a daughter, somebody's daughter. I'm a wife. I'm a mommy I've got 4 beautiful children, 2 of whom live with me. So don't feel sorry for me. So I only got 2 in the house right now. They're toddlers, 1 and 3. So pray for me.
Yes.
And I do work full time. I'm a full-time dentist, full-time mom, and I have an online boutique, Viceal. I'm a fashion designer, but right now I'm just selling other people's stuff online because of the pandemic. So we'll get back to our couture things, even though the piece I have on now is actually a custom Viceal. So I take that back. We have some pieces on our site that are custom, but other than that, we're an online boutique, retail ready to wear garments right now. And I live in Dallas, Texas right now, North Dallas, and moved around. I'm licensed to practice dentistry in 3 states. I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana. That's where it started, and moved to Maryland where you are. And now we're in Texas. So God's been good. It's been a busy life so far, but I'm grateful and I'm blessed, and I'm honored to be part of your show for Women's History Month.
Thank you. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
The honor is mine. Trust me. So let's talk about this a little bit because you have just shared that you wear so many hats and so many of us are the same, right? We wear so many hats. So let's talk about how did you become a dentist and then how did you become inspired to become a designer?
Okay, well, the dentistry, I'm the second of 3 generations of dentists in our family. So it
Nice.
came by a strong influence from my father. I tell everybody I was a daddy's girl growing up and I wanted to be with him all the time. Well, our parents allowed that. Instead of going to summer camp in the summer, we would work in the family businesses, which we had 3 different options at the time. And so I chose the dental office. My father had a nursing home and a record company as well. A lot of people are familiar with the record company. All of us worked there too. But when I was little, I wanted to be where he was, and he was in the dental office. So I would say at 6 years old, the dental bug hit me because he let me suction. And I just thought it was the coolest thing in the world. I thought that was all it was to being a dentist, just suction. Of course, I got older and realized it wasn't, it was a little harder than that. But so from 6 to 12, I wanted to be a dentist. I worked in the dental office every summer. And I think my parents probably broke every child labor law there was. But, whatever, that was a different time. And we're not going to get them in trouble now. And I learned a lot. We grew character. My payment was, I got to live in their house rent free, at 6, at 6 years old, But anyway, so fast forward to 12, I got hit by the fashion bug. My oldest brother was into modeling, and he dated a couple models who I thought were just fabulous. And I was fascinated by them. One of them took me under her wing and kind of started showing me the ropes. And I just started like drawing and designing clothes. And then I learned how to sew younger than that because I was making doll clothes for my dolls. I started to learn how to make clothes for people my age. And then I got to high school and I literally had a business making prom dresses for all my friends, one of a kind pieces. And so I started doing fashion shows and was kind of making a little name for myself. And I got to college and I was urged to study business instead of fashion, just so I could have something to fall back on. So I was a business major initially, and I ended up, I don't know how it happened. I'm almost positive, but he denies it. My father made a call and I ended up getting a scholarship from the dental school in undergrad. So I ended up kind of on a pre-dental track from there, and it worked out. I ended up getting into dental school, and it ain't easy to do. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll just go for it then, So God kind of opened the door back up for me to study dentistry. It wasn't easy. I mean, you had to be a science major. You had to take this equivalent of the MCAT for dentistry. I got in, I passed the test, got into dental school, got a scholarship to the school I ended up attending. And so I was like, well, okay, I guess I'll go this route for a little while. I got out, I graduated and started in practice with my dad. I don't want to tell you when because it's going to make me sound really old.
You don't have to.
But all I have to say is the practice has been around this will be our 48th year. And I've been there for a bit of that. So I'm going to just leave it at that. But it's, I came out and I started building the brand. He founded the business, but I started to build the brand to the point where now we're ready to expand into different states. So I'm grateful, but I never forgot about the fashion piece. And some of my old clientele came back and they were like, what are you doing? So I started creating again. And until the pandemic, I, had a nice little Thystiel line. And then, like I said, now we're kind of like a resale boutique with a couple of custom pieces, but the fashion bug never left me. It never left me alone. So we still do that on the side.
Love it. And I love that, while you were sharing, I just thought of something that, God always gives us more than one gift. And so many of us, and I don't know if it's a woman thing or if it's just a people thing, we almost feel like we have to get on this one track. Mm-hmm. And that's all that we will ever do is that one thing. And then there's that other thing that we love and we don't pursue it.
Right. Right.
How many of us do that? And it's like, oh, well, I can imagine, you saying, well, I'm a dentist. This is the track that I'm on. And yes, I love fashion, but I'm a dentist. But I'm so thankful that you embraced all of what God said. How many of us don't do that? We take bits and pieces. And so as you're now on this journey of being a dentist and being a designer,
Mhm.
have there been any challenges specific to you being a woman in either role?
Absolutely. And I'm a double minority. Let's just keep it real. Just
Yep.
in case you were wondering, I'm Black. Just in case you were confused about it. So I'm a double minority. And I will tell you, it's been a blessing being able to come into a family of dentists. That has opened a lot of doors because I didn't have to start from scratch. But I will tell you, in the other states where I am trying to open practices, it has been a lot of, I will just say, business friction,
Mm.
for lack of a better. And sometimes I don't know if it's because I'm a woman or because I am an African American woman, but there have been a lot more challenges trying to open in different states. So I will say my father definitely paved the way to make things an easier transition for me in Indiana. However, there were still challenges there. I will tell you, when I graduated, I had so many patients who were like, we don't want the woman. Or I had a guy just blatantly tell me, shouldn't you be somewhere cheerleading right now?
Oh.
I didn't even get offended because he was old. And I was like, you know what? I bet in your day, there probably weren't a lot of doctors, female doctors. However, this is, get used to us. We ain't going nowhere.
Right.
So I had a lot of people request the male doctor. And even actually in the other states where I practice as well, down in Texas, it happens to me all the time. But even more down here, it's more, I want the Asian or I want the Caucasian, or it's a lot more blatant. I don't want the Black girl.
Oh, wow.
And so it's
Mm.
something to be said to come into an African American practice. They already know you're Black there. So you don't have to worry about breaking down that wall. So it's been a lot of, coming from Indiana, you deal with racism anyway. So it got me ready for this. But professionally, I've never dealt with so much sexism or racism as I have in the South. And so, yes, there have been a lot of barriers to cross. But I will say people who have come before me had worse to deal with. So I just look at it like, all right, I'm the next level trying to chip at the block for the girls coming behind me.
That's amazing. And what encourages you when you're having those periods of frustration, when, maybe you're feeling, I mean, I can only imagine what that feels like. What lifts you and keeps you motivated to continue on in your journey?
A strong walk with God, because It's
Amen.
very discouraging. I have been disparaged harshly. And if I did not have God and the ability to develop a thick skin, I would have given up a long time ago, because being a caregiver, any type of doctor is a caregiver. I have a soft side. Like, I care and I want to make sure you're okay. But if you come back and disparage me, that is hurtful and it's discouraging. And you hear it enough. Nobody likes the dentist. Let's just be honest. Well, no, I take it back. I have a lot of patients who like me, but you come out of school realizing that a lot of people hate the dentist, and they tell you, I hate you. It's not you, but I just hate you. It's the dentist. I don't like the dentist. If you're not strong and rooted and grounded in something stable and firm, that can take you over the edge after hearing it year after year. I hate you. I hate you. You're really trying to do your best for somebody, and they're telling you they hate you over and over. Again, I don't hear that as much as probably some of my predecessors did, because, the Lord has gifted me with a spirit that calms the majority of the fearful, to say, for lack of a better word. But that, along with dealing with unethical practices from colleagues, and I don't mean my father, but I'm talking about other people I've worked with. You're around a man of God so long, because my father's also a pastor and he's a strong man of God. You're around that so long, you think that that's just the norm in the business. And then you go somewhere else and you realize he is the exception to the rule.
Yes. Oh, that's a word.
In any industry, you're going to deal with and face your challenges. But when you start to deal with people, fraudulent people, and unfaithful people, and unethical people who could possibly get you put in jail, girl. It's like, oh my God. So speak of encouraging yourself, girl. You got to just be like, God, you got to take the wheel on this one. Because at this point, I've never dealt with this, and I don't know what to do.
Yes, yes. Oh, that is such a word. And I know many of us, when we are in whatever industry that we are a part of, whenever you're dealing with people and confusion and things like that, like you said, the best thing to do is to cling to God, because He is our answer. He is
Mhm.
the answer, and
Oh
He's
yeah.
all we need. I want to switch gears for a little bit and hop onto the fashion side for a
Yeah.
second. I have some pieces that are from your line, that I just think are so beautiful. And so I want to talk a little bit about, because us as women, society has us that we have to look a certain way and be a certain way. We're supposed to be top model ready all the time. We're supposed to, there's so many expectations. And what does your line speak? Who is the woman that is for your line?
Yes. Well,
I'm going to show some pieces why.
okay, cool. Well, I love fashion. I'm a fashionista. With the couture piece, I try to do one of a kind pieces you're not going to see anywhere. I try to stay fashion forward, but with my ready to wear, we're on trend. We try to be ahead of trend and kind of follow the spring, summer, or fall, winter of the season. But you're right. We try to wear things that accentuate the lady, but also we're modest at the same time because we represent Christ. And we believe that we're fearfully and wonderfully made. And that doesn't mean we got to show everything that He gave us. Not knocking people who do, but my line kind of, and my store caters to the sophisticated businesswoman who likes to feel good about herself and likes to step out and be fly at the same time, but also likes to leave a little mystery. So you'll see cute dresses in our collection. You'll see fun sleeves. I'm a big girl on sleeves. You're going to see that throughout the store forever. There's going to be some funky, fun sleeves. We accessorize, we dress up, we're over the top, but we also stay on trend. So what you see here is the vegan leather. Like that was so on trend for fall and winter. So we try to have some trendy pieces, but still be modest enough that my first ladies can wear it, my girls in the boardroom can wear it, but also my girls who want to go out with the girls can wear a piece too, and not feel like they're frumpy or, oh my God, all she has is first lady suits. No, because I don't even dress like that to church. So,
hey. Yes, I love it. And one of the things when I was looking at your line, like, oh, like you said, I could this, I could switch it up. I love clothes that I can wear in more than one setting.
Yeah.
I want to be, like you said, I want to be able to dress it down if I'm just, hanging out. Yeah. I want to be able to dress it up if I'm trying to be cute. It's beautiful, and I absolutely love it. One of the things that, and I always get bothered by this question that I'm about to ask, is that we always talk about balance, right? Whenever women who are in business or have ministries or anything, one of the things that we always ask is balance. How do you balance it all? We never ask men that question, though. I've noticed. Do we ever ask men how?
No, not that I'm aware. No, we
don't. But you do wear so many roles, and I think a lot of us, and I know I can speak for myself as a single parent, when God started calling me into stepping into some of the assignments that He's given me, my first question was, when am I gonna have time to do that? Yeah. And so talk to me about, how do you find time to do the things that you love and to, do all of the things that God is calling you to do?
Mm-hmm. Well, I will say it was easier before children. And a lot of this started before my kids. I was able to have a whole career in 2 businesses before I even met my husband. And so I did a lot as a single woman, and I try to encourage all my single ladies, take advantage of that season. Do everything you can. I know we're so eager, not me. I wasn't really eager to get married, to be honest with you, but I'm grateful. And when it happened, but I wasn't in a rush because I knew I had so many goals I wanted to accomplish, and marriage was kind of not at the top of the list. So because of that mentality, I was able to accomplish most of the things we're discussing before I even got married. Because once the kids came, oh my God, the marriage piece, not so much. My husband is very supportive, and he pushes me to achieve. He met me when I was already successful. So he pushes me to continue to achieve levels.
Amazing.
And higher heights. I'm grateful. But when the kids came, I'm that mom who, my daughter flew so many times by the time she was 1, because I was traveling back and forth between Maryland and Indiana, working 2 different practices, and I wouldn't leave her behind. And so that girl has so many frequent flyer miles at this point. When the pandemic came, she was like, Mommy, when are we flying in an airplane again? I was like, girl, I don't know. I don't know. And we had just flown February of last year. And she was like, okay, packing her bag, ready to fly out in March, because we would fly every month. But I tell you, when the kids came, it made it challenging to juggle. The pandemic happened to help me kind of wrap my head around, okay, how am I going to do kids, activities, travel back and forth, run this business? So the answer right now is, I don't know. I'm just kind of learning as I go. And
that is the answer.
Yeah. And asking God for the grace to do it, because I don't want to stop doing what I believe he called me to do just because now I have a family. I want them to be part of it.
That's right.
So a strong support system has been a huge help. And I tell you, moving to Texas, we didn't have anybody, but God put me around some people who I'm able to trust my children with. Now, since we've moved, I've had a couple of family members move here who have been a huge help. And then just our church family alone have stepped in. So a strong support system has been a huge help to being able to accomplish goals, from the influence from my parents pushing me to be great, all the way to my village, my family, all the way to having strong teachers and mentors around me pushing. That support system and that village is everything.
Amen. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And my prayer for everybody listening is that God will show you who your support system is. And sometimes they may be the people that you expected. Other times they may be the people that you least expected. Mm-hmm. But just know that God has a support system available for you. And he is showing you. It's, in the first segment, I was saying we have to have eyes to see the total picture. And a lot of times we don't see that God has made provision for everything that we need in order to birth what he has implanted in us. And so I'm super excited that you brought that point up. One of the things that as believers, sometimes it's hard when God gives us an assignment to just get started. Mm-hmm. I'm the planner, I'm the person. I want a strategic plan. Like, how are we going to do this? Who's going to pay for it? I wanted the whole thing. Yeah. And oftentimes God doesn't tell me that. He just take the first step. So what would you say to someone that may be listening, that maybe they have heard God clearly on, what their next step is or what their assignment is, and that fear of the unknown and the fear of not having all the details, it's what's kind of stopping them. They're kind of stuck right now. How would you encourage them?
Sister, I'm there with all of you. I'm with all of you. This expansion project I'm doing has taken so many twists and turns. I just know I'm supposed to do it, but the steps, I am literally learning as I go. So like you said, just take that first step. For example, with my boutique, I was going to have to shut down my store because I wasn't creating anything. My distributors were closed. Orders weren't coming in. Nobody's ordering high fashion they weren't. Now they are. During the pandemic, it was like, okay, I'm going to have to close this down. Well, God didn't say close it down. So I went and got a reseller's license and kept it up as I remixed it essentially. And God is blessing that. And it's still there. So I can go back, in when my high-end clientele come back and say, hey, we need some stuff, the stuff will be right back available. I didn't wait and say, okay, the distributors are never going to come back. The fabrics will never be back in stock. I just was like, all right, I have to remix this right now because the stores aren't open. I can't go get my fabrics. They're closed. The warehouses are shut down. Right. So just take a step. After that, take another step. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect. I'm not saying you may hit some roadblocks along the way, but just take the steps. Take it from me, because I am still trying to figure this out. God did not lay out and map it out for me. He didn't. He told me what to do, or he put it in me to do it. I'll put it that way. He put it in me and gave me a strong urge to do what I'm doing. And as I'm doing it, he's blessing it and opening doors. That doesn't mean things have not happened that have made me want to say, God, is this you?
Right.
So just stay on your face, stay the course, at least take a step toward whatever direction you believe he's giving you. And it takes prayer. You're going to have a walk with him and a relationship with him so you can hear from him. So I strongly encourage, get on your knees, get on your face, grow in him, hear from him. What is it that he's pressing you to do? Just start. If that means calling somebody who's already doing it, call them, ask them how they did it, and figure out, well, I wonder if I can take any of those steps. You don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel for what God called you to do.
That is a word. That is a word. Some of us think we have to start from scratch. And God's like, actually, I already have a template for that particular thing. And I think what you brought up, a huge point is just being willing to adapt to and shift with the change. So if God gave you an assignment and he gave you the assignment for now, he knew the pandemic was coming. He knew, that you didn't know. He knew the things that are to come, the obstacles that are to come. And he's already, again, that big picture, he's already made provision for it. He's just looking for us to move and to do what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So as we are, the time is flying by. I want to make sure we all connect with you. I just put in the comments, Feisty L. Listen, that is her Instagram. I'm telling you, go on there. You just saw some of the pieces. They're amazing.
Thank you.
I got my eye on a couple things. We were talking about it before. Also, anywhere your practices, how can we connect with you? And then you also do some public speaking as well, correct?
I do, yes. So as far as the dental business is concerned, it's Scott Dentistry. If you go to DocScott.com, that'll let you know all the locations where you can find us. Right now, it's primarily in Indiana, but if you need to get in with me in Texas, you can go through that site, call them, and they know where I am at any given day. DocScott.com is also on all social media platforms as DocScott.com as well. And then Feistyl is spelled Feistyl. Some people spell it Fie, but it's Feistyl. You can also connect with me on social media, basically through Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook through Feistyl. And then also Dr. Lena on Instagram. If you want to see what I'm doing dental wise, I have some fun cases that you can see my work. I love cosmetic dentistry, full mouth reconstruction. I love kids. Those are the things I enjoy doing the most. So, but yeah, social media is a good way to connect with me. Also, feistylllc@gmail.com is my email, but you can find that on my social media as well. So, and the boutique is feistyl.bigcartel.com.
Nice. I'm just dropping all of those links in the comments. So,
thank you.
All the social media and your Feistyl information, as well as DocScott.com. Listen, there is, the last couple months, rather, I've just been super serious about saying this on the show every week. You never know who's around us and what they're going through and what they're battling. And if you are dealing with depression or anxiety, if you are having any suicidal thoughts or ideations, listen, first, I want to say that your life matters. And second, I want to say that there is help available and there is no shame. We all have had moments, some different than others, but I will be dropping in the comments the hotline number to suicide prevention. If you are just feeling low and you need somebody to talk to, there are people that are willing and want to talk to you. They care about you. I just want to always include that as we wrap up the show, because you just never know what somebody is going through. My last question for you, Dr. Lennon, I ask this on every show, is just, we never know who's listening. And sometimes I believe that people, they tune in however they tune in, whether they intentionally came or they found it somehow or whatever. But some people are really going through right now. I mean, we've been in this COVID situation for a long time, and we're getting tired. I mean, I can say that for myself. I'm getting tired. What is a word of encouragement that you would give to someone that is just in that low place right now for whatever reason?
Yeah. They always say it's always darkest before the dawn, and you're not alone. God is still with us. He's still in the midst of this. It doesn't feel like it. It feels chaotic. It feels like sometimes he's left us, because how on earth are we going through this and we're his children? But he's not left us. He's got a plan. He's going to bring us out of this victorious. So I just pray that God sends whatever peace your way, whatever comfort your way, whatever people your way to help your heart heal today, and to know that you're not alone. Know that he's got you, and just let his warring angels and his ministering angels come and minister to you through whatever it is that you're going through, because we're all going through it. We're all here together, and God is he's still in the midst of us. I have to believe that God is still here. He's still got us, and he is going to give us double for this trouble that we've gone through. Whether that means our family is going to come to him, whether that means we're going to come out stronger than ever before, whether that means he is increasing our faith and taking us to next levels. He's going to bring us through this. He's taking you through it right now.
Amen.
He is. He's with you. He's not left us.
Amen. Thank you so much for that, Dr. Luna. That was a word, and I pray that it encouraged you. I just want to say a shout out to Quincy, our producer, for always making sure the show is great. I just want to thank you to every listener, whether it's your first time or, you're here every week. I do not take for granted that you spend time listening to what God is saying here at the She Heals Radio Show. To my Awesome God Radio family, I love you and I thank you. I thank God for you. To Dr. Luna, thank you so much. You are such a light. You are such a light.
Bless you.
And my prayer is that God will continue to be you and that you will overflow. That is my prayer for you. That you haven't even seen the work that God is going to do. So I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see it. In closing, she thinks, she feels, she prays, she cries, she trusts, she strengthens, she overcomes, and ultimately she heals. This is the She Heals Radio Show with your host, Whitney J. Have a blessed weekend. We will see you back here next Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Take care. God bless and know you are loved.